Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Christy Don One. I'm back with another video. You know what you got to do: rate, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so it'll let you know when my next video or live stream goes down. Also, a quick reminder: I posted a video on my gaming channel, Playthrough Media. I'm gonna have the link in the description sometime today, maybe when I'm done doing this live stream, because I also have to go to work. Uh, I talked about a popular YouTube personality. I believe his name is Attica, and he had to battle a lot of personal demons. And I gave you my perspective of it, as well as what other people have been talking about when they commented on about RIP to Attica. I've never met him before. Never watched none of his content. But anyway, anywho, I gave you my thought that as well. Well, without further ado, let's get into today's topic: NBA predictions. A lot of people have a lot of players going in a lot of different places, and a lot of people are talking about Jimmy Butler possibly going to the Rockets. People are talking about maybe the Lakers have an inside track on Kawhi Leonard, Klay Thompson possibly going to the Clippers, and Kevin Durant is bolting out of the Golden State Warriors. And I'm still steadfast on my belief of what ultimately is going to transpire with all of these moves, okay? And it really, the biggest domino that can possibly derail my theories is Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant goes and leaves the Golden State Warriors, and let's just say he goes to the New York Knicks, hypothetically speaking, then that means Kyrie Irving might be heading to the New York Knicks. Maybe Kemba Walker. That means that a lot of other pieces and a lot of other players may have second thoughts of landing in these other spots. Okay. I'm about to sneeze, so forgive me if I do sneeze. But if you're not aware of what I thought about the predictions, I clearly stated, and I'm still holding true to my word, that Kevin Durant is going to stay with the Golden State Warriors, and so is Klay Thompson, excuse me. And the reason, because I was about to sneeze, sorry about that. And the reason why I say that is the Golden State Warriors can offer them more money than any other team. The Golden State Warriors, out of all the teams that have been mentioned, can sign those two guys and let them sit out for the season and still have a winnable season and make the playoffs. And Klay Thompson, they say that he should be back by All-Star break, even though I feel like they're going to give him a couple of more months after that. And Kevin Durant is probably not going to make it until the playoffs. And I predict maybe the second round or the third round, even though I feel like that's still a little too early. But with this long delay plus the summer, that might be a perfect scenario when you talk about time and date. And those two players, even if the other, let's say Brooklyn, the Knicks, let's just say the Clippers, out of those teams, that's the teams. The Golden State Warriors are pretty much the only team that can let them have a long, let them mend and heal their injuries, and they'll still have a successful season. Now, a lot of people, particularly on ESPN, is saying, well, if Klay Thompson goes to the Clippers have enough talent there to make it to the playoffs. And people have to realize and remember, they only made it to the 8th seed. And if the Lakers are going to the playoffs, then of those teams that went to the playoffs this year, who is not going? Or you mean to tell me the Lakers are going to replace the Utah Jazz, the Portland Trail Blazers? I feel like this is going to be an interesting season because I feel like the Suns are going to make a push to the playoffs. The Lakers are going to make a push to the playoffs. Sacramento Kings are going to make a push to for the playoffs. And I feel like it's a lot of competition in the West, and it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3 ABC. And I feel like Klay Thompson realized that, and the Golden State Warriors are definitely going to the playoffs, even with Steph and Draymond Green. Steph, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, you probably promote him into the starting lineup. You may get Boogie Cousins on a team-friendly deal where he wants to run it back, so to say, and try to get the chip, you know. So he may do it, or he may just go ahead and say, look, I'm trying to get my big money. So it'd be best for me to go to these other teams that's going to offer me the most money. Okay, you might have a situation like that, or you might have a situation where there's a NBA player that's going to take below max money and say, you know what, I already made all the money that I can possibly make. Now it's time for me to have a championship on my resume. So you might have a scenario like that for the Golden State Warriors. Be on the lookout for DeAndre Jordan, even though a lot of people feel like the Lakers are going to have the inside track on DeAndre Jordan. I feel like DeAndre Jordan wants a championship, and I feel like he's going to have a lot of teams to choose from. Do not be surprised if the Golden State Warriors pick him up on a team-friendly deal if he has second thoughts of the Lakers. I feel like ultimately the Lakers have the inside track on that, but it really does depend on who else they can bring to the Los Angeles Lakers. So you got a lot of things going on, and we just don't know. We really just don't know what's going to transpire from the NBA prediction. But I can just pretty much tell you guys how it's going to transpire and go down.
What can I have you?
Yes, can I get a chicken biscuit and a sweet tea? All right. So yeah, I feel like let's start talking about Jimmy Butler. As soon as I get my food, we're gonna start off with Jimmy Butler. I don't know why I wrote down. What's up? Hello. How are you, sir? How are you doing today this morning? Doing good. Doing good. Yeah, first person we're gonna talk about is Jimmy Butler, and I'm gonna tell you ultimately where he's going to land and go. Thanks for the thumbs up, sir. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great morning. Just be patient. I'm gonna start on Jimmy Butler as soon as this lady, as soon as we get through doing some dealings, willing and dealing with the feeling.
491.
All right. I just thought about something. Like, what if I couldn't afford my own meal, and she said my card was declined, and I'm on live stream? That would be funny.
Can I get anything else?
No, ma'am. People be like, thank you, ma'am. People be like, oh man, his card declined on a live stream. And people will be recording that, and I'll be seeing that for years to come. But anywho, let's start off with Jimmy Butler. You know, a lot of people have been steadfast on Jimmy Butler. Yeah, that would be funny. A lot of people are steadfast on Jimmy Butler going to the Houston Rockets. And even though I don't see that being a perfect fit, even though I feel like that's like lighting a match on a gasoline firestorm, because you still got Chris Paul there, and Chris Paul has issues with James Harden. James Harden's style don't necessarily mesh well with Jimmy Butler, even though Jimmy Butler is a jack of all trades but a master of none. To me, I've been stating on this channel, Jimmy Butler is the poor man version of LeBron James. He can do a lot of things decent to good, but there's nothing that he does great. And every team, there's a reason why Jimmy Butler has been bouncing from team to team to team. I mean, Jimmy Butler, for the past 4 to 5 years, haven't even been on a team for more than 2 seasons. Okay, so there's a reason why he wore out his welcome with the Bulls. He wore out his welcome with the Timberwolves, and now if he leaves the 76ers, even though the fan base wants him, and I felt like he fits better with the 76ers because of Ben Simmons' sort of problems of having a consistent jumper. So that's more touches that he's going to get with the ball. And Joel Embiid, sometimes he has health issues, staying on the court. So I felt like that was a perfect match made in heaven, so to say, of him going to the Philadelphia 76ers. By him going to the Rockets, I just don't, I don't. That doesn't make the team any better, particularly when you have to give up so many assets to even get Jimmy Butler. Okay, PJ Tuckett. You also have to get rid of, and I forgot his name, the big man that plays good with Houston. I forgot his name. Sorry about that. So you're going to give up your core players, 3 players for Jimmy Butler to fit Jimmy Butler in the cap, because you already got Chris Paul in his contract, and I just don't see them getting rid of his contract anytime soon. So it is what it is. But I feel like ultimately, for all those moves to happen, and for all these players going to new places, it hinges on what Kevin Durant's going to do. All right. So the first day of free agency is going to be a slow one. You're not going to hear about any big names other than Kawhi staying with the Raptors. I feel like ultimately it's the Raptors, and if he decides not to stay with the Raptors, if he goes out west again, he's probably going to the Clippers or the Lakers, because he's from that area, and that's what how they're reading the tea leaves, where he's from that area. Even though Paul George was from that area, so he wound up staying with Oklahoma City Thunder. But I guess that's neither here nor there. But I feel like Kawhi is going to stay with the Raptors. Why? Because the East is, he won a chip with the Raptors. And if he signs a long-term contract with the Raptors, there's a possibility for the next 3 to 4 years, barring a real serious injury, the Raptors are going to be always going deep in the playoffs. You don't have to worry about the Golden State Warriors until the finals. You don't have to worry about LeBron James until the finals. And I feel like those teams are going to beat themselves up, and you might luck up like you did this year and play a Laker or a Golden State squad that's full of injuries. So I feel like his bread is buttered in the East, and ultimately Kawhi Leonard is going to stay with the Toronto Raptors. Kevin Durant is going to stay with the Golden State Warriors because of the things I listed earlier in the live stream. So is Klay Thompson. I feel like a lot of people feel like there's going to be a whole lot of willing and moving. I just don't see it. The only way Jimmy Butler is going to go to the Rockets are going to have to give up half their team for Jimmy Butler, and I just think I just don't think it's wise to do that. You got PJ Tuckett, and then you got the other big man that the Rockets have, and they're pretty good at what they do, and their style with James Harden, because he's an isometric player, so they're going to get their points regardless by other ways. By putting Jimmy Butler with the Rockets, he's also an ISO player. So you're going to have to orchestrate plays for his touches. You have a point guard that can do it over Chris Paul, but he's struggling with James Harden to make it a team-oriented type of offense. So I don't see that happening as well. I feel like ultimately Jimmy Butler's going to say thanks, but no thanks. He's probably going to re-sign. There's only two places I see Jimmy Butler, with the 76ers or the Lakers, and I feel like that's the Lakers' plan B. I feel like, or plan C. I think the players that the Lakers want, they already got Anthony Davis, they got LeBron James, and Kawhi Leonard is probably next on that list that they want. But I feel like ultimately the Lakers are going to utilize that money and spread it out, so to say, to add in fill-in players to fill in the holes that they have. They don't have a point. They don't have a two guard. They got LeBron, and Rick will take Clint Capella. That's who I was trying to think of. PJ Tuckett and Clint Capella. I feel like those two players fit well with the Rockets because those players are time touches to get their points. Because Clint Capella can get his points on the defensive end, loose ball fouls and things of that nature. And I just don't see Jimmy Butler fitting in that fitting well with James Harden. It's going to take a lot of and I feel like there's going to be clash of egos if Jimmy Butler goes to the Rockets, because with him, James Harden, and Chris Paul, they're going to have their own version of how this is going to work. And I feel like Jimmy Butler is more so on the side of Chris Paul, where you have to have ball movement, and trying to convince James Harden to do that is going to be thoroughly impossible, because this is who he is. So what you're basically telling James Harden is, you can't be that person no more. You have to evolve into something else that, his style is not necessarily going to fit. All right. So that's going to be one of those moments where it's going to be hard to get him to understand that. And I feel like a lot of players really don't want to play with James Harden because of his ISO type of play and how he sort of, I want to say hog the ball, but he holds the ball a extremely long time. And his style is not necessarily fits well with systems. Okay, so I think that's a turn off for a lot of players out there, and I feel like a lot of players are not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But like I said earlier in the live stream, I don't see all this player movement like a lot of people on Fox and ESPN and the blogs and things of that nature. I feel like ultimately everybody's going to pretty much stay put where they are because their bread is buttered there. I feel like Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson is going to stay with the Golden State Warriors because that's the only team that can stay out of the lineup and they'll still be able to make the playoffs. Okay. I know a lot of people say, well, the Clippers, they can do that. They had they made it to the eighth. They was the 8th seed and they didn't have a lot of stars. That's true. But you also have to remember Y'all talking about the Lakers are going to make it to the playoffs. Okay, then who of those players, I mean, who of those teams in the West this year, hold on one second, who of those players in the West teams that you're going to take off? And I feel like the odd man out is the Clippers. Okay, Utah's not going nowhere. Portland's not going nowhere. I feel like the Suns are going to have a bounce back season. I think they're going to be competing for the playoffs. I also feel like Sacramento Kings are going to be going to trying to go to the playoffs. So there are other. The West is stacked. Okay. And I feel like of those two teams, the Clippers and the Golden State Warriors, I feel like the Golden State Warriors have enough talent there that can keep them into the playoffs, and they're the only team that can, sort of let Kevin Durant just, rehab his injury and come back into the postseason, and Klay Thompson rehab his injury and possibly come back after the All-Star break. I feel like that's the only team that can do that, that will allow those two players to rehab their injuries. Okay, I don't see the Brooklyn Net thing. I don't see the New York Knicks thing. James Harden sucks. James Harden has to realize that it's not always about points. Okay, it's also about getting your other team, your teammates involved. Okay, and like I said, James Harden is a one-man show in the regular season, and everybody gets mesmerized by him scoring a lot of points and this, that, and the third. But when the postseason comes and it becomes a half-court game, and you start slowing the game down, the tempo down, and it's all about making the smart possessions, okay, that's where he struggles. And this is like his third year going through this. So I feel like they don't have the right coach there, okay, for a half-court game in the postseason. Now, for the regular season, Mike D'Antoni, he's the perfect coach for them. They're going to get a lot of W's. They're going to score a lot of points. They're going to set a lot of records. But when the postseason starts, you need a defensive-minded a team player, team-oriented type of coach. And that's not Mike D'Antoni. Okay, so I feel like all this movement that a lot of people think is going to happen, I don't see it happening, because when it's all said and done, I feel like the only players that the Brooklyn Nets and the Knicks are going to be able to get, did I say the Brooklyn Net, the Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks? I feel like the only players that they're going to possibly sign realistically, maybe a Boogie Cousins, giving him a max contract, maybe a Kemba Walker, maybe pulling him away from Charlotte, giving him a max contract, okay? I don't think Kyrie Irving is on the radar on these teams unless they can get Kevin Durant. Brooklyn and the Knicks have clearly stated that they want KD first, and then Kyrie Irving second. Okay, so I don't see him on a lot of radar, and Danny Ainge hasn't even talked about Kyrie Irving coming back to the Celtics, because I feel like it was a mutual agreement. Kyrie Irving didn't want to go to go back to the Boston Celtics because he said he didn't like the community. It was a hard time living there. And I feel like the feeling's mutual with Danny Ainge, because they're already setting their sights on Kemba Walker. Okay, so I feel like ultimately Kyrie Irving, I also don't see him with the Lakers. Okay, they're not going to spend the majority of their money on Kyrie Irving. Okay, so I feel like as far as Kevin Durant, he didn't even get his teammates involved. That's true. He didn't get his teammates involved because people have to realize Kyrie Irving is more of an ISO. He's really a two guard, hitting as a point guard. He's not a point guard. He's a two guard. If you had a traditional point guard and have Kyrie, even though he's going to be undersized at the two position, he will flourish in that type of system where he doesn't have to be the floor general, and he can orchestrate and create his own shot. Okay. And also he also needs to be on a team that already has established leadership. Leadership is another quality Kyrie Irving fails at, even though he thought that he was a leader and that's why he wanted to go to Boston. Can the New York Knicks go and get Clint Capella? That's a possibility. Okay, hold up. I wouldn't say that's a possibility, but I don't ultimately see how that makes the New York Knicks better. In my viewpoint, because if you get Clint Capella, clearly you're going to have to get another star. Clearly you're going to have to get not Kyrie Irving, a Leonard. You have to get a Kawhi Leonard. You have to get Kevin Durant, and you're not going to have the services of Kevin Durant until later on in the season, in the postseason. Okay. I felt like if Kevin Durant was fully healthy, and if he was fully healthy, and the Knicks wind up with Kevin Durant, I feel like you should trade and get a Clint Capella. So I feel like those two guys blend well. Okay, because Clint Capella don't necessarily need the ball. He can still get his on putbacks. Okay, and on the defensive end. But I feel like Clint Capella. I feel like the Rockets are going to trade Clint Capella so they can get enough cap room. And if they do that, then be on the lookout for Jimmy Butler. The only way they're going to trade Clint Capella from the Rockets, and I feel like if they do that, the Rockets are, they're screwing up, because I feel like Clint Capella and PJ Tucker fits well with what they're doing in Houston. But if they get rid of Clint Capella, then that's their way of saying they already got, Jimmy Butler lock, stock, and barrel. Okay, so that's the only component that they have that can sort of relieve some of their cap issues. And there's no way in the world they're going to get rid of Chris Paul. And like I stated in a lot of live streams, the only way Chris Paul is going to be off their books, so to say, if they buy him out. I don't think that there's a team out there that won't. They love to have Chris Paul. They just don't want his contract. Okay. And there were reports that suggest that it was a possibility of him trading, that they was going to trade him to the New York Knicks. I didn't see that happening. There's no way in the world. And it fell through due to the part of what the what else the Rockets could get in a trade like that. If that deal was close of being done, then that deal would have went through. But there's no team that's going to trade for Chris Paul in that ridiculous contract that the Rockets gave him. Okay, so they're stuck with him. And the only way they're going to get rid of him is to buy him out. Okay? And that's the only way Chris Paul... But something's definitely going to have to happen between Chris Paul and James Harden, because clearly they can't work together, because they have two different perspectives on what's going to take them to the next level. And I kind of co-sign with Chris Paul. The only way it's going to take them to the next level is to get other players involved, particularly when the game is slowing down and it becomes a half-court game. All that step-back threes and contested jumpers and all those ridiculous circus shots, you can't consistently depend on them every possession in the postseason, because sometimes they go your way, sometimes they don't go your way. Okay, so but as far as free agency, And I appreciate all the thumbs up. I really do like you guys when y'all do that. I also like it when there's actual live viewers here that ask me that send me messages, and I really do appreciate that as well. Let me see if I can scroll for some other messages. Nope, it's not allowing me to scroll. Okay, so ultimately, free agency is going to be the first day is going to be slow. You're not going to see a lot of movement. A lot of people think, oh my God, the first day of free agency, whole lot of movement. That's not going to happen. I think a lot of people are hedging their bets and waiting to see what Kevin Durant's going to do. I feel like Kevin Durant is going to make his mind up on like the second or third day of free agency. He's going to leave suspense there. And then ultimately he's going to say, I'm going to stay with the Golden State Warriors. They got a pretty good thing going on down here. Plus, they're the only team in the NBA that will let me sit out the whole entire year until the postseason. And they're also the only team that I know for a fact that's going to reach the playoffs. If he goes to the Clippers, he's taking a gamble on whether or not they can make it to the postseason. If he goes to Brooklyn or the Knicks, he's taking a gamble on whether or not they can make it to the postseason. And when you look at the teams that are up for discussion, the Golden State Warriors have enough players there that they can just ride it out until the postseason. Okay, they still got Steph, they still got Draymond, and Klay Thompson will possibly come back after the All-Star break. So there's 3 stars there. Plus, there's a possibility of them getting a veteran NBA player that will play for the league minimum just to want to get a chip. So just like the Boogie Cousins, okay, when he did it this year, okay. So there's a possibility for that as well. Everybody wants to play for the Golden State Warriors, all right. So that's pretty much all I got for today. And I appreciate everyone on the stream. I appreciate everyone giving me thumbs up. I appreciate you guys giving me love. I also appreciate when you guys comment. I don't care if it's good, bad, or whatever. As long as we can keep the communication lines going, long as there's no disrespect on both sides, on my side as well as your side, everything's gonna be steadily cozy and fine. Okay, so I'll see you guys on the next live stream. Probably won't do another live stream until like maybe the second day of free agency, and then we'll talk about it and we'll hash it out. We'll see if I'm right, we'll see if I'm wrong, and I'll be man enough to tell you guys if I'm wrong on any goddamn thing. But I told you guys how I felt. For those who are coming in late, just watch it from the beginning. You understand my point and my method to my sort of madness of ultimately what's going to transpire in free agency. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom 1. I'm up out of here. See y'all. Peace.